Have you ever found yourself walking through a B auto show thinking, gee, if only I could Plasti-DIP every part of my computer like these modern day Picassos have done to their cars, but would all my stuff even work anymore? And what about cooling? Well, if that's ever happened to you, we've got the answers. Synergy allows you to share your mouse and keyboard between multiple computers at once. Check it out now at the link in the video description. So to bring our idea for the funkiest PC ever to fruition, we decided early on that halfway wasn't going to be far enough. We resolved to Plasti-DIP our entire machine outside and in. Even critical system components like the motherboard, video card, and CPU heatsink. Understandably, we were a little concerned that while Plasti-DIP seems to be a rubberized type of coating and is therefore hopefully completely non-conductive, it's not a feature that they explicitly advertise. So the chances that this kind of a treatment could kill the PC, whether by gumming up the electrical contacts or causing a short, seemed pretty high. Thankfully though, our friends over at the local electronics refurbishing and recycling megastore Free Geek came to the rescue, hooking us up with a fairly respectable, if several generations old machine that, if it survives, will actually be able to rock some pretty modern games, along with its new style. So the first thing we did was to validate that Free Geek's donor hardware was in proper working order and that the coolers were keeping our system cool enough to avoid any thermal throttling. Then we rolled out to Canadian Tire and dropped $250 of, wait, what? $250? Did you guys even try to contact Plasti-DIP to see if they'd sponsor it?
We did.
And?
Why do you think we bought it?
Oh, all right then, $250. So to make sure then that the motherboard wasn't harmed any more than it was already going to be, we borrowed some dust covers from an Asus Sabertooth board to fill our PCI Express, SATA, RAM, and I/O ports wherever possible and filled in the gaps with some tape. Much taping later, we were ready to go to town with the hot pink oh right. We were ready to go to town, laying down the initial white coat that's required for optimal coverage. No big deal. I mean, engineering is pretty much trial and error. That's what that means, right? Moving on, for the power supply, we couldn't just blast paid into it and hope for the best. We wouldn't get very good coverage that way, so we needed to tape it off on the inside. We took it apart, making sure that we didn't get shocked by the very questionable PSU that we picked out of the doorstop bin at Free Geek, and then, to make our task easier, not less stupid, we hung what we could off of sawhorses and got to painting. Enjoy this psychedelic montage. So then at this point, the internals were all done up with a unicorn ate a rainbow, it didn't sit well, and our PC got in the line of fire aesthetic, and the case's clean black canvas look was completed. But one thing was still missing. The side panel really needed a sweet design to put a cherry on top of this build. We were originally thinking some sweet-ass flames, and Ed made us a stencil to cut out. But it was way too complicated, and Ed has shockingly poor taste in flames. So we decided instead that a cactus would be not only cooler, but also, and perhaps most importantly, it would be much easier. And wow, goodness gracious, that is possibly the funkiest, most cosmic cactus that I have ever seen. Time to slap everything together then, and then ourselves. It ended up looking even more funktastic than we could have possibly hoped. But does the machine still work? I mean, that is the point of this. Can you do this at home? And it does, from a certain point of view. We got Windows installed and fired up IDA64 to see how it was faring, and oh wow. Just installing programs at around 20% load on our CPU landed us at 90 plus degrees Celsius on the processor, and under full load, we thermal throttled at a tropical 100 degrees Celsius. But I mean, this is kind of what we were expecting. We could have easily not painted the heatsink and it would probably have been fine. But that wasn't really the point of the build. The point was to find out if Plasti-DIPing your computer hardware will kill it. And the answer is maybe, because our success doesn't guarantee yours. Synergy is an easy software download that solves once and for all the problem of having 2 keyboards and 2 mice on your desk if you have multiple PCs, because it lets you share 1 mouse and 1 keyboard between 2 or more computers seamlessly, so you'll no longer confuse which one goes with which. And they even allow advanced features like clipboard sharing between the computers, being able to drag and drop files between the computers, the ability to set up hotkeys, and support for multiple operating systems: Windows, Mac, even Linux. They've got basic and pro options, and you can use our link in the video description to get 50% off Synergy today. So thanks for watching, guys. If you disliked this video, you can hit that button. But if you liked it, hit the like button, get subscribed, maybe consider checking out where to buy the stuff we featured at the link in the video description. Also down there is a link to our merch store where you can buy a cool shirt like this one, and our community forum, which you should totally join.